Hey, my name is Epsilon, and welcome back to our Create Survival series. So, today we are going to be making our iron farm. Now, the thing about the iron farm, currently we are between a wood farm and an iron farm. We can actually run and look at our to-do list right fast. Ooh. So, our to-do list here: wood farm, iron farm, food farm. We made this in the last episode. But as far as the wood farm is concerned, we can keep chopping wood. Iron is what we're short on. So we really need to be prioritizing iron on our farm. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to kind of develop and design an iron farm once we kind of figure out where we're going to build it and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and sleep here for a second. And once we sleep, we're going to find a spot for our iron farm. We're going to do a little bit of terraforming and we're going to clear it out. So this whole episode is going to be kind of more so geared towards developing that iron farm. I think we should be good with... We'll do 4 on the safe side. And we'll go ahead, make another pickaxe. I did go ahead and cook up our resources that we got from mining last episode. So, I added backpacks. I almost forgot to say that I added backpacks. I kind of got tired of such limited storage space, so I went ahead and added backpacks. I know I said I wanted to keep it vanilla, but I felt like backpacks was okay to add, and I went ahead and added the port so that they can work with Create Mod. But, that being said, we need to make a wrench. That's not how you spell wrench. We need to make a wrench. So 3 pressed sheets, a cogwheel, and a stick. So, cogwheel, 1, 2, 3. We need a stick. I just had sticks. That's crazy. Oh, I used them all, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Look at me go. Alright. Add back in there. And we need to go ahead and figure out what it's going to cost to make goggles, too. That is always what I think the first use for gold should be. So goggles, 2 glasses, string, and a gold sheet. So in total, we're going to press 4 gold sheets. Okay. So while we wait for that to press, I guess we can kind of look around a little bit. And I think, the most logical spot for the iron farm, I guess, would be right in here. So, yes, we're going to go ahead and make our wrench and our goggles, and then we'll get started on clearing out that area. But once we clear out that area, we'll kind of go over what we need our iron farm to be. I need more sand to make goggles. Why am I like this? Okay. Well, guess we'll run down here and get some sand. But I think the main goal for this episode is going to be getting that iron farm up and running. That way we have it for later on when we're making more machines. We can make more alloy. But we may skip doing the wood farm until a few episodes from now. We may do, I'm thinking, the andesite farm next episode, just for the fact that I don't want to be digging for andesite super often. And if we have iron and andesite, we kind of, we have some copper to sit on, so we will be good to kind of relax on vanilla Minecraft and just stick to create. So you go ahead and cook this up here. We're gonna need 1 string and 1 pressed sheet. Go ahead and move those here. I don't have any other string, do I? That is a shame. Okay. I did want to make a backpack this episode, but I believe that requires 4 string. Let's see. Yep, 4 string, a chest, and 4 leather. We've got the leather to do it. We're 1 string short, so I'll keep my eye out for any spiders that we might come across. We only need 2 of that right now. And there we go, we got goggles. So we'll put that on our head there. And we look a little funky wearing them, but that's okay. That is a-okay. But we have a wrench now, which is going to be great. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that slab there. Need to store off some of that cobble. And we will get to clearing out this space over here for our iron farm and kind of terraforming it. So we're going to go ahead and start doing that right now. Okay, so that was a lot of dirt and stone and random crap. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over what kind of idea I got going here. So I don't like having just like super flat ground. So, but I kind of needed it to build this building. So we've got a retainer wall going around here, kind of holding that dirt back. And the goal is at some point to kind of fill this across with dirt here and then do my own terraforming there. But I figured just having a flat spot to kind of build this iron farm was kind of what we needed right now. So, that being said, for our iron farm, we're not going to go ahead and build the building straight away. We're going to go over what exactly an item farm is going to need. So, I'm going to take you guys to school. Okay. So, for the iron farm, you're going to need drills. So we'll say that this up here is a drill. So the drills are going to break down your cobblestone blocks, which that looks more like a slab. We'll do this right here. We'll say this is your cobblestone block. So cobblestone block right here, a drill right here. Now you have to have a way to produce that cobblestone block. So what you're going to do is you're going to have some lava over here on this side, and then you're going to have some water over here on this side. But that water, well, that water is going to have to be inside of an inverted staircase. Now that's going to prevent our lava from spilling out and turning the lava into obsidian. But then below that, you're going to need your millstone. So we'll say that this right here is our millstone. And your millstone here is going to grind up that cobblestone as soon as your drill breaks it. So when a millstone, we'll say we attach a chute to the bottom of it, and we have a belt down here at the bottom. So when a millstone grinds up cobblestone, you get gravel. Now, that gravel is going to go through our chute, and it's going to land here on this belt. So this belt is going to have a case fan. Now this case fan is going to have some water in front of it. This case fan here, we'll just say that this little star thing is our case fan. So our case fan is going to blow air into the water, and the water is going to blow along this belt. Now what happens then is something we discussed in episode 1, I believe, which is washing. Either that, no, it was episode 2. We had to wash the wheat flour to turn it into wheat dough. So once you wash gravel, you can get 2 things. Now, the 2 things you can get from washing gravel are you can get flint. So we'll say this up here is our flint. You get flint, or you can get an iron nugget. So an iron nugget is going to be this right here. Now it's a small chance you get an iron nugget, so you're primarily going to get the flint. So what we're going to have to do is find a way to power this machine here in order to wash it to make iron nuggets. Now we're going to also have to make a way to dump the flint. Dumping the flint is going to require brass funnels. Now the thing about brass funnels is we can't do those until we go to the nether and we get stuff to make brass. So this is kind of what we're looking at here on the iron farm front, just a basic schematic for an iron farm. So the way we're going to power that is through windmills. Now the way windmills work, and I'm going to go ahead and erase all of this here for a windmill. we will need to get, let's see, okay. So let's say this is our windmill bearing block. Now, on top of your windmill bearing block, you need one kind of frame block. Now, that can be any block. It could be cobble, it could be wood. So on that side of that block, you're going to attach your windmill frames. Now, you can attach a windmill frame to any side of the block, but then you can continue and attach windmill frames to each other. So we're going to go ahead and we'll scribble that block there so we know it's our frame block. We'll go ahead and make our windmill bearing white just for the sake of education. So they require a minimum of 8. So once you have 8 windmill frames on a windmill, it will start to spin. Now the beautiful thing about windmills is you can just keep on adding these frames. And if you keep on adding these frames, you can add outward too. And if you keep on adding these frames, then eventually you can max out your windmill. I apologize if this is uneven, but you can max out your windmill, and the more frames you add, the faster it moves and the more stress units it has. So this is going to be kind of the rudimentary schematics that we're going to use to run our iron farm. Is those basic schematics for the iron farm, and then how to run a windmill. So we're going to go ahead and apply those in Minecraft the best we can. Okay, so in order to do this, we're going to go ahead and sleep. But in order to do this, we are going to need an adequate power source. So I'm thinking that early game, the best way to not utilize a crap ton of water wheels is going to be windmills. But that makes the problem of windmill sails. So we've got to get a lot more wool. So what I plan on doing is going to this plains biome up in here, and I'm going to attempt to find as many sheep as I can, and also right in here. So we're going to get as many sheep as we can and shear them for their wool in hopes that we can make at least a stack of windmill sails. I think that would be enough for us to work with. We're looking at probably producing around 2,000 to 3,000 stress units for a low output iron farm. Later when we get our steam engine, we'll be looking at high output, so we can probably go with the steam engine up to 100,000 per farm. Now, in stress units, that may not seem very impressive if you don't know what a stress unit is in Create Mod, but let's say a small water wheel. It's probably the first, maybe the second use of a force you get in the game, production of stress units, the first being your hand crank. So, the small water wheel produces 256 stress units at maximum capacity. That being said, maximum capacity on a small water wheel being 256 doesn't actually give you very much to work with. You can't really speed up a whole lot. Even on my drilling rig from last episode, my drilling rig had to have 2 large water wheels to run, which produce, I believe it is 512 stress units each. So once you get to larger machines, you have to start powering very strategically in order to not create as much lag. So once we get steam engines hooked up and everything, we also have create stuff and additions, I believe it is. We're going to grab these here while we're waiting for sheep to spawn. But in stuff and additions, we do add electrical components, which should make the transfer of power from a steam engine easier. So we should, by some point, have us a blaze cake factory along with steam engines, and we will run power lines from that to every other machine. But once we do that, it should make powering everything a whole lot easier. But for now, we're going to use windmills. Windmills, for early game, they base off of how many windmill frames you have. Now, windmill frames are, in my opinion, a little expensive. Unless you have a sheep farm just hanging around, they do cost 1 wool per every, I believe it's 2 windmill frames. They cost a wool and an andesite alloy and 2 sticks. So a little pricey for my tastes, but that is a-okay. We can spend some time over here running back and forth, shearing all these sheep, and we should be able to go home with enough once these shears break that we can make plenty. So I will go ahead and time-lapse me shearing all these sheep, because this is not something I feel like you guys want to wait around and see. And I apologize again. I am kind of addicted to time-lapsing. It makes editing these 3-4 hour videos really easy. That way I can kind of include as much content as I want. And I don't have to sit here and stop and start recording over and over again. It just makes it really easy. So if you're not a fan of the time lapses, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys here in probably 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, guys, so I just got a backpack from a zombie. Okay, I think that what we've got is more than enough for our needs right now. We may come back and get more, and eventually we will make a farm for this kind of thing. That way we don't have to run around in the middle of the plains at night. But we've got a backpack now, which is awesome. I actually need to change my keybinds to accept the backpack, because right now I'm bound for waypoint on the backpack button, which is not really a problem. Minor inconvenience that I can go back and fix. But now that we have everything we need for making our windmills, we should be good to start actual production on the iron farm. So now that I've kind of, not really in depth, but loosely explained how iron farms work, we've got to make sure we have the proper amount of resources. So I do believe that we have, let's see, 17 plus 8 is 25. So we have 25 iron to kind of put towards the cause. I know we are going to need shafts, belts, and a couple other things we need. Millstones, drills, which we have enough drills. I think we can lose a couple on the iron farm. Kind of return on investment. I'm thinking we do a probably 3 millstone farm is what I'm thinking. Possibly a 5. I think we have 5 drills, so 5 millstones probably wouldn't hurt too bad to have. And we have 5 shafts, so that would actually make it very easy. What was the recipe on that millstone again? I believe it's 1 stone, uh, one stone variety, so granite, andesite, something like that. We're just guessing before we pull that recipe up. 1 stone, 1 cogwheel, and a shaft? No, a casing, a cogwheel, and a stone. Okay. So we are going to need more casings. That is a-okay. We do have enough iron to kind of spare some. We're going to go ahead and throw some of that kelp off in there. Going to throw some of this stuff, whatever we can at least, here. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and change that keybind we've got. So let's get the backpack. Okay, open backpack is right there. Waypoint. Create waypoint. We're going to swap that to V. No. We'll swap that waypoint to, let's see. Nope. We'll just put it as plus. And that should be good. So now we can open the backpack. Oh, we got some goodies in the backpack too. Awesome. So, I'm going to go ahead and try and shove whatever we can. Some of these. There we go. So let's go ahead and make our checklist. So we're going to need 5 up. 5 millstones. Then we're going to need 5 drills. 5 buckets of water. 1 bucket of lava. We're going to need 5 belts. Which would mean we need, I'm going to say 15 shafts. We'll go ahead and actually, let's see. We'll err on the safe side. We'll say we need 24 shafts. We're going to need our windmill bearing. Windmill. That is Mindmill. Windmill frames. I'm not going to put an exact amount in there just because I'm not exactly sure how much we'll need to power this. We need, let's again err on the side of caution, but we'll say 6 encased fans. So this may be a little hard to do, being that for those 6 encased fans, we would need a total of 24 iron. That uses all but 1 of our iron, which we are going to need more of. So we may just start out with 1 encased fan and just kind of use it to process our iron, which technically, it depends on how high we want to power these case fans. We could do 5 case fans, 1 for each belt. Doing that would probably save us a little bit on our iron usage. So for 5 case fans, that's 20 iron just for the propellers. So 5 case fans, we would need 5 more buckets of water. Well, actually, we could probably get away with doing 6 buckets of water. Not too worried about that. We can just reuse the same bucket over and over again. We do have plenty of building blocks. So we need that. We need funnels. And then we need chain drives, cog wheels, large cog wheels. Okay, so this is just kind of a basic resource list. I kind of gave up on the numbers just because we will kind of figure that out as we go. But I'm going to let this smelt up so we can make some belts real quick, and I'll get right back with you guys. Okay, so we've got our dried kelp. we're going to go ahead and throw probably another stack off in there just to kind of help the process. We'll go ahead and swap that coal out for charcoal. Then we're going to need grab more andesite. We're going to go ahead. I was about to say we're going to sleep, but it's morning. So I'm going to grab some andesite. There should be a decent amount in here. We're going to go ahead and just grab all of it. There we go. That should be all of it. I guess we need to go ahead and grab probably granite while we're in here. Now that we have our granite, we can use that to make our millstones. We're going to need to make some casings. So, let me go ahead, grab a bunch of casings. Go ahead and do that. And of course, we got an overkill amount of andesite. That is okay. So we're going to need 5 casings. So, grab our logs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we put our wrench in this chest outside. There's our wrench. There we go, that's 5 casings. We have our shafts, so there's our shaft. Well, cog wheels is what we need. Okay, cog wheels, those, granite. Now we have 5 millstones. So on top of the 5 millstones, we're going to need 5 drills, which we have. Now, going to need to grab, on top of 5 millstones, it was windmill sails. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and grab plenty of sticks. I think we're going to turn the rest of our alloy into sails. So that's 22. So we will probably need to make more alloy. It's okay. Go ahead and do this here. Swap those. There's more sails. And I think a stack of sails is what we're kind of going for here. So I'll just rinse and repeat the process over and over again. So we'll say 4 this time. This. Go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, that's 10. There's a stack of sails, and we have plenty of wool and such left over. I'm going to go ahead and make our belts. 10 belts, which is more than enough. We're going to go ahead and make a couple funnels too. 4, and let's go ahead and have enough for 5. So that's going to be 5 right there. Then we're going to need chutes. So we're going to need to press 2 of those, keep one of them normal. That will only make 4 chutes. So we'll have to kind of think of something here. Not waste any iron. Since we're going low production, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can start out with, we'll say, I think 3 encased fans is what we can start with. So those will cover our propellers. We have our chutes covered. once we get all of that together, I think we can go ahead and start building the actual building. So we're going to go ahead and make our chutes. We'll make more once the farm is up and running. And this will be kind of low production, but I do want it to produce quite a bit. So we are going to need to find a way to get rid of some flint, because this will make flint as a byproduct. And not a small byproduct, it will be a large amount of flint. Also, I apologize, there is a cat in front of the monitor yet again. I just moved him to my lap, so he should be okay. So that's 3 right there. We can use this to make the last few. And a psych. Casings. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Casings, that's what we need. So 3 casings. Okay. I did not grab logs, so it's a good thing we've got logs here. 1, 2, 3. 3. Need that andesite. Alright, move the kitty cat. I love him, I promise. But little man's got to stay in his lane. Alright, there we go. We're going to hope we can get away with using just 2 shafts on this. So, we're going to go ahead and say that our iron farm will be built, I guess, right here is as good as any. So we're going to go ahead and start with construction of that. We'll dump some of this wool off here. I kind of want to keep it in the same theme as I did the actual house over there. I don't want to veer off that theme too much. So let's see. All we need this to do is encase that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll say 4 can do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that being 8 kind of weirds me out a little bit. But actually, this is the one thing about survival I've never really enjoyed, is just the breaking down and rebuilding over and over again until you get something you like. So I think we're going to build our farm inside of this boundary right here, and then using this boundary will kind of determine what way we want to go from there. So I think the first thing we're going to want to do is set up our belts. We are going to need more iron though, so we may just start with, we'll say, 1 belt here. Now, it does seem like it would be in my best interest to elongate this, but I think I'm going to do a vault right here, or some kind of silo or whatnot. So we'll just have to make sure this belt moves really slow. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that belt up there. And the whole goal right now is just to get one of these up and running. That way we can kind of figure it out from there. I need to grab some cobblestone. And once we get one up and running, we'll kind of time-lapse the rest of it up until we are ready to go. So I will need this to be lava-proof up here, but we can go ahead and place all of our millstones. That way we just kind of know what kind of mechanical stress we're dealing with as far as everything is concerned. This will need to be stairs right here for water on one above this. So once we get all this here figured out, I'm thinking the water will actually go on the back side here. That way we kind of conserve space and fit within our restraints as far as the lava is concerned. So I will go ahead and make some stairs. And we will need 5. I'm sure I have some stairs laying around somewhere, but we're not going to worry about it. So 1, 2, 3. We'll go ahead and do this right here. And we can use some kind of item frame or whatnot to kind of polish that up on the end down there. And I didn't grab any sort of scaffolding blocks considering we just used all of our dirt. So I'm going to go ahead and do this here, make just a quick staircase so that we can continue to get up there. And I will grab more cobblestone. We'll probably sleep here in a second just to get rid of this rain. But we do this here. That should cover us for putting our lava down right here. We are going to try and run the drills on top. So running the drills on top is going to benefit us in keeping the space kind of clear. We may end up swapping it and having the lava run on the top. And I think that may end up being what we do. I'm not entirely sure yet. I do need to sleep. That way we're not dealing with this every couple of minutes, because it will get annoying. And the rain is already kind of annoying. Very peaceful when you're not doing anything. We're going to go ahead and cook up some food too while we sleep. So, going to go ahead and we'll check off the millstones, the drills, belts, windmill bearing, windmill frames, and we will kind of check off more as we go. So my plan is, I think before I start the next episode, I will have a checklist made up so that we can just kind of follow it as we go. And that checklist, I will make it a little more detailed in the next episode. That way, if you guys want to make the same machines I do, you can just pause and take a picture of this checklist. That way you know what all materials I'm using for the build. So I think rather than running our drills on the top, we'll run the lava on the top just to save me a little bit of room here. And we should be okay as far as all this is concerned to run these drills. And I'm going to need encased chain drives, but that's going to require more iron. So I think right now our main focus is going to be to have some lava and some water. But I'm going to go ahead and get a fan hooked up. And sorry, readjusting the cat. We're going to try and get our windmill bearing hooked up just to run at least one of those right now. And we'll use that one to harvest more iron. Grab that gearbox, those cog wheels, that windmill bearing, these windmill sails. Now, I don't use windmills very often. I like to kind of speed run the steam engine, but I don't really remember what exactly the maximum capacity for windmills is. So we're gonna have to kind of play around with that, I guess. These cogwheels are gonna make this very ugly, but we're gonna do what we have to do here. I'm not gonna be very picky. This is going to run super slow to start with. And that is a-okay. Like I said, our goal here is not necessarily speed at first. It is just to make enough iron to continue to build the iron farm. And I'm not a fan of how that ended up placing. Oh, go. Look at that. One more time on this side if we can. Nope. All right. Do it this way. Go. There we go. Let us place up top. I don't think it will unless we're standing off to the side. And this should be enough just to kind of kickstart this right now. And that will run that drill for us. But we're going to need that drill to run power. Well, we're going to need that mill at least to be powered. And then we're also going to have to power a case fan. So, to get this running the way we want it to, I think we are going to need one more small cogwheel. But the problem being, I do believe we used our last one, and I don't think I can necessarily chain these, but I may be able to. Exactly what I thought. I don't think we're going to be able to chain these unless we pull some magic real quick. I think that's the magic we need right there. So that's going to do that for us. Then we need at least one of these fans blowing. That's going to be sucking. So, gotta somehow find a way to reverse that. So that is spinning the reverse, which should in turn make a fan here. Which it did. Now that is going to be the only slightly difficult part about that. But I do know where some is. So we'll likely just sprint over to grab it. But I am going to go ahead and make a couple more trapdoors. And we'll continue to make more just to cover these. But I want to make sure that water is not just spilling out everywhere. Can break these. Gonna need to make another pickaxe, but we're not gonna worry about that right this second. We're just gonna go ahead and put that water there. Now I did see some lava over here when we were on our way to that plains biome. So if I can find just that one little piece of lava, then that would be enough to power our cobble farm pretty much indefinitely. The way we're doing this is just trying to use one bucket of lava to make as much as we can possibly use. That is not the whole, but I see some lava on my mini map, and if it's a pool, that may actually help us out a lot more than that little stream I saw. But chances of this being a pool, I feel, are slim. It looks like it's just a little lava fall. Oh, and it's way down there. Okay, we're going to not do that. We're going to look at our mini map. Did I find any other lava anywhere that I can see? There's some in one of these little caves through here. So we're going to follow this cave back this way. Hope that lava I saw is in one of them. If not, oh, there it is. Like I said, one lava is all we really need right now. I'm not afraid of that fall damage there. I should be, considering I don't have any food on me, and I just now noticed that. I could eat dried kelp. I am not above eating kelp to survive. There we go, hot stuff. And this should get us at least a little bit of iron once we start it up, and it may be another time lapse once we get this set up, just so that you guys can kind of see what the process looks like on this one, and then we'll replicate it for all 5 once we have enough iron. I was hoping the 25 we had would be enough, and I'm probably doing this a little less efficiently than some other people would. I'm not too worried about that. This is kind of my way, and I will kind of make things more efficient as I go and as I learn. But this just is how I've always done it. It feels comfortable to me. But we will definitely play around with it and test some other designs at some point in this world. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this cobble here. Do that. Do that. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and grab some more food. We threw that steak in the furnace. It is ready. I do need to make sure that this conveyor belt gets at least a little bit of power. I also need some water in front of that fan. This way this fan can kind of continue doing what it does. And just for the sake of it, we'll do this right here. Okay. So very rudimentary, but this will power us for what we need it to. And I don't think we're going to worry about powering the belt just yet. I will just collect iron straight off of this belt here. And I guess I will see you guys momentarily. Okay, so after quite a while of waiting, of course I did end up making the belt run and throwing a funnel on it. After quite some time of waiting, I did get enough iron to make the last 2 case fans. It did take me a hot minute though, so I went ahead and added more dirt here. And if you're wondering where I got that dirt, I dug out a pit below here. And so kind of my idea here is that rather than send our windmill into the sky, we'll run our windmill underground if possible. So I figure we can go ahead and start to dismantle this thing. That way I can start to kind of rework all of it. If we can get this reworked. Bucket here, that up. But we should be able to rework it so that I can run this at a higher speed. And we can theoretically get a lot more out of it. So we're going to demo this real quick. Okay, so now that that is for the most part demoed, I am going to have to wait and make another chute. I didn't think about that. I did make some more alloy. We've got enough nuggets here. I think I can make some chain drives, but I only have enough to make 4. So that works because I have 4 chutes, so we're going to be able to kind of run just 4 of them at first. There's a gravel in there, nice. But we'll go ahead and connect up these. Oh, and if you've noticed, I did extend it out back 1. It just felt a lot easier to work with if it was 1 shorter. So I think that's what we're going to run with is 1 longer in the back. That way I can kind of hide a little bit better some of the stuff we're going to be doing, because powering case fans is going to be kind of the hard part back here. So speaking of powering our case fans, we're going to go ahead and plop down all of our case fans here. Go ahead and pick that up. case fans, well, may be easier to do it this way right here. We are going to need chain drives to run the case fans. I'm thinking chain drives to run the drills as well. We do have to have a block gap between the chain drive and the chute just for the water, which does kind of suck, but oh well, we'll get over it. I'm going to go ahead and add these belts in here, which I need to throw some more shafts down. But if I go ahead, add these belts, which I think I need it to be one shorter. As long as we keep the belt moving slow, we should be fine. Actually, I'm going to see if I can get away with right here. If not, that'll be a problem for later. If I can get away with doing this here, it should work out with the way I'm thinking pretty well. Got our 5 belts here. Okay, so having those 5 belts there, we do need to find a way to get stress units up to these. I'm thinking we're going to use the millstones as kind of a gear ratio tool to make that happen. So once we get the chain drives up here, it'll be, let's see, it'll be this row right here that the power's going to come from. So we're going to go ahead and in place of the chain, well, we'll go ahead and make some chain drives. Let's see. I did do a lot of deforesting to go along with all the dirt I put down. I tried to clear anything below the level we were going to use. Let's see, that should be 5. Didn't really count there. It was 5. Awesome. So 5, 4 chain drives. But with 4 chain drives, what we can do is go ahead and power these middle 2 here. And this is the part that I was worried about, was hiding this back here. Now, I guess it'll stick out a little bit. We'll try and hide that with some decorations later. I think we can kind of live with it. So if we drop this down here, which actually, I think what we'll do is try and run off this one, simply for the fact that this drive is here. We may actually run off this one just to speed up the drill, in which case, we're going to go ahead and do that. Well, not what I wanted to happen. Is this going to do... Okay, that's going to go the way I want it to. It's going to be kind of a pain to get the other one to go the way I want it to. But I'm sure we will live. After a few tries. There we go. Okay, so that is going to run kind of the way we want it. Of course, it is going to be hard to deliver power to that at the moment. So I think what we're going to do is we've got to kind of knock out a little bit of the wall back here, but that trapdoor is going to kind of save us there. I'm going to go ahead and, for convenience sake, we are going to do that. So this goes down there. Throw that too, just for a second. We'll throw that chain drive right there. Could be able to kind of run this into that pit that I made. Got a little staircase here that we can use. But this is where I would prefer the power to come up at. That's right here in this corner. Which we may not be... we may be able to make that work. So we're going to go ahead and grab our windmill bearing. And I think we can go all the way up to this height here to power that. So I'm reckoning the windmill bearing is going to go here, like right above this block. So do that. There. For source block, we'll just go ahead and use a piece of cobble for our kind of base block there. And then we have 64 and 8 to add. So in total, we have 72 windmill frames. We're just going to go ahead and quickly add all these windmill frames in this kind of shape here. Okay, so as to not upset anyone with this being uneven, I am about to just bridge this gap here in the middle. That way it kind of stops asking me to do it. It's more annoying when it picks 8 different directions to go instead of just the one I want. So, going to move down a floor and continue. Should be ready with one cogwheel to spin this whole machine and start making some iron. Okay. There we go. And we will need to speed this up eventually. So, whoop. Go ahead and fix that before it turns into a hazard, and it's already doing so. Ready? So we don't have any water here, and I forgot about that. So we'll go ahead and add our water there, and just while we're thinking about it, we'll add our water in all the spots. But that will require a few more trapdoors to be placed to avoid disasters like that from happening. So Should be 2 more is all we need. And I don't even know why I made those trapdoors. Those blocks will be replaced. I'm going to go ahead and do this here. Let's see. Did I miss any? I missed that one right there. Okay. Now I will block that up. There we go. Okay. So that is, we have to make the belt move really slow for this. And I honestly could have kind of waited as far as the belt is concerned. Okay, so we're going to have to do another gearbox. But I want it to move a lot slower. And it is moving in the correct direction again. So we're just going to go ahead and collect all this gravel sitting here. Because Lord, is it a lot. Now, since we did that, go back through here, block that off, get some more water. Okay, so now we can kind of just let that blow free. We are going to need to make a couple more funnels, but the one we have, we should make 2. Well, that's not where funnels go. Should give us 3 right here. We've only got 2 actively running. So I can just go ahead and very temporarily make us a double chest to collect all of this. And it's already produced an iron right there. Okay. This one does not have any water in it. It's also not producing. Do that, do that. There we go. I think production is far faster than the belt can move. So we may be collecting some gravel in here. Yep, we will be collecting some gravel in there. So I'm going to do my best to kind of reset the belt here. Just by grabbing everything off of it. And we'll see if that kind of helps. Go ahead and sleep. Then once we get all the functionality down, we can move on to making it look good. And of course, I will have the other 3 slots up and running. We should be just dropping 1 gravel onto the belt at a time. is, which is why I prefer having shoots. Shoots will drop only drop 16 at a time, or whatever stack size, so they can hold a little bit more before they do. But I don't really want to slow the belt down anymore, because that's the problem it's having. It's dropping stone faster than the belt. So we may actually need to slow this whole thing down a little bit. Whoop. And in slowing it down a little bit, we should be able to keep up production. I think that's slower. Not entirely sure. We'll see. I believe it is. And I could have just slowed the drills down up here, and I think that's what I should have done, was made this slower right in here. Which the drills are already moving slower than the cogwheels, well, than the millstones. But I think that should have fixed it for us. Now, I did use a little bit more of the andesite while doing that. But we're going to go ahead and, I guess, let this run just long enough to throw these other casings, well, these other chain drives in. I think we need 6. So in total, we're going to need 18 different nuggets. So we're going to let this run, I guess, long enough to get 18 nuggets, and this actually may help us here, depending on how long that sits on the belt. Okay, just going to throw that whole stack down there. I think this will speed up the process for us a little bit, throwing all that loose gravel there. We've already got 5. Seven. Let's see. Yeah, it should be 7 that we have now. Oh, 9. Okay. So that's enough to go ahead and make 1 set of the chain drives, and I think I'll do that for the fans. But we do need more alloy, so I am going to sadly use more of our zinc. So we'll go ahead and just make a couple of it. Andesite there. A little more. Boop, boop, boop. Go. Now that we have that, we need our casings. So it's going to be 3 casings. But in total, we need 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and do this here. Power the fans first. The fans are all powered once we have 9 more. So there's another 5. We power the drills as we go. Oh. That's not good. I do have... Oh, gave me pants and boots. Cool. I do have a sword, but I failed to grab it in my, I guess, quick thinking. Throw that there. Back to waiting for more iron. So we're going to go ahead and get us a sleep. I'm going to readjust the lap cat. Okay. And we're going to dump off some of the stuff we're not actively using. Okay, he burned as I got my sword out, so there's one more. So now all we need is 3 more nuggets. And like I said, this is our low production iron farm, so it will not be our primary source in the long run. This will just be our starting source of iron. Later we will build a much bigger factory. And hopefully we can use some of the mining rigs that we saw in the last couple episodes to kind of take care of that for us. If it works the way I think it is, as soon as we get silk cut, we should be able to take pretty good advantage of those rigs. I'll have to do some more research on them, as I've never used them before, so I'm not sure if that is the way they work, but if it is, I think we're going to be set. So to actually finalize what I'm wanting to do here, we're going to need quite a bit of iron. So my goal is to just kind of get all of them running, build the building around it, and then we can finalize. I'm wanting to do a row of vaults here, and then that way we can kind of get rid of the flint and everything down below, and we can store the flint, use it for other machines at other points. That should be our last nugget we need right there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just for sanity's sake, we should just need one more. Now that we have that, we can do, see, we're going to need in total 3 more chests. So do that right there. Go. We'll go ahead and set these bad boys up before we start building. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that should start very slowly collecting iron for us, as well as flint. And we will find a way to get rid of that flint. But I think that means that we are going to start building. that it doesn't look quite the way I want it to, but I think it looks all right. So, took a little longer than I wanted it to, but I think that's going to be a really good start for our farm area over here to the side. So, I think with the iron farm, we're going to be able to kind of build farms a lot faster now. So, episode 3 has been kind of a longer one, at least for me. I know there's going to be some pretty long time lapses in there, but I have very much so enjoyed making this episode. Making the farms plus making them look good is kind of hard to do, especially when you're kind of working with such a vanilla block palette. And I'm not the best builder, anyways, and I'm trying to work on that as well as getting better at Create Mod. But I really hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I really hope you like the way the iron farm looks. And like I said, this one's kind of a low yield. We'll be getting to it. We'll be upping the yield on it pretty shortly. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. I had a blast making it. And in the next episode, I do believe we will be continuing on and making our wood farm. I'm thinking for the wood farm, we may have a small building dedicated to a lot of different kinds of wood, and we may dig kind of a pit to make that happen. There is a skeleton behind me, so I am going to end the episode and run back into my little cabin. But I will see you guys in the next episode, and thank you guys for watching.